Hi there, this is Colleen from Keeping the Peace, and welcome back to another episode of Colleen Answers Your Questions. Today we're answering a question from Elaine Hump in the down bar of episode 33 in this series, where we talked about my thoughts on pocket carry. Okay, so her question is this: thanks, Colleen. I don't know if you've answered this before, but how often do you recommend cleaning your gun? I was sold CLP cleaner, which means cleaner, lubricant, preservative in one, by Safariland. Is this good to use on a Smith Wesson impede 380? Okay. She's referring to something along the lines of what we call cleanse oil here, and it's basically a combination of a cleaner and a lubricant, and it protects against rust. It's all in one. Now, the way I clean my guns might be different than the way some people do, especially if I'm teaching a lot and shooting a lot, and a lot of my students are shooting my guns. Some people, if they shoot it, they clean it, like right away. Back in the time when I was teaching 5-6 days a week and people were shooting my guns all the time, sometimes I would let them get 600-700 rounds through them before I would clean them, unless it was a 22. Then you have to do it more often just because it's dirty ammo. But if it's a good quality gun and you're using quality ammo, which I do, then you don't need to do it as often. However, if you keep your carry gun dirty, it will get you dirty. So since it's strapped to your body, you know, it can get your holster really dirty, and I have found that that's the case when I carry in a tan colored Galco underwraps. It has taken on kind of a dark color around the muzzle area because I've carried my gun dirty in it before. And also I'm on the other side of lead poisoning. I've been dealing with lead poisoning for a number of years now. If you've been following my channel, you probably know that already. And it's probably not good to have a dirty gun, or at least extremely dirty, sitting up against your skin all day. And the muzzle a lot of times comes out the bottom of a holster, especially a compression type holster like a belly band. So it's resting against your belly when you sit down, because your belly, you know, when you sit down, you don't stay exactly flat like that, because most people slump a little bit, so you're kind of, you know, curving in like this. So the muzzle kind of pokes into your flesh a little bit, and so that's, you know, a dirty muzzle up against your flesh, and things absorb through your skin. So if you carry in a compression holster like that, I would say clean it before you put it back in there. The way I like to do it now, I'm not teaching every day anymore because of my lead poisoning. So I've really decreased the amount of time I've spent in the range because I'm fighting lead levels. So what I like to do now is I go and I shoot, and at the end of my range time, I clean my gun right there at the range before I ever put it back in my holster or back in my case. That way it just goes back into the safe or back into my holster clean, and that's the way I do it now. If you had asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have said I put 500, 600, 700 rounds through it before I clean it. And that was because I was shooting almost every day of the week, and my students were shooting my guns. I mean, I had guns that had 15,000 rounds through them because they were being shot so much. And if I had tried to shoot, clean them every single time I shot them, it would have just driven me crazy and just absorbed too much of my time, and it's not really necessary. Your gun will run fine dirty, unless it's a 22. I have found that my 22s, even my Ruger Mark III, which is, I think, a great gun, it can handle a lot of dirt. But once it gets too gummy, then you just have to clean it. You have to. The extractor will stop working because it gets all full of gunk. You have to dig stuff out of there. And another thing to consider too is if you're using dirty ammo, then that's going to increase the amount that you need to clean it. If you use quality ammo, like jacketed ammo, then you're not going to probably have as much problem as the person who is shooting ammo where the lead is exposed. I don't ever shoot ammo in my guns, any of my guns, where the lead is exposed. Not only because of lead poisoning, and I don't want that much in the air, but also just because of the gunk. I don't like the gunk. I like things to be jacketed, fully jacketed, and if I'm shooting 22s, I like them to be coated, like the CCI Minimags. So that's my personal preference. Basically, you got to come up with what works for you, but it's not going to hurt your gun if you want to shoot it several times before you clean it. But your preference might be just to get it over with while you're at the range. I think that's super convenient. I also don't have to get all the dirty stuff out at home with the baby around. I can just do it there before I leave. So, and it takes basically 10 minutes at the end of the time. Works great for me. So I hope that answers your question, Elaine, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.